I cried when Al Simmons came back and was like, Wanda.
This fucking bit that you've been doing for 2 fucking days, you son of a bitch. God damn you.
God.
That I invested zero emotional energy into its delivery for.
This is we're doing TV again, guys. Woo!
When does Vision get really upset that Terry married Wanda?
Okay, you're okay. You joke, but you're setting up a show that I desperately want to see.
Oh, it's fun recording, guys. I'll talk to you later.
That's the only way McFarlane's going to get that movie made.
Yes. WandaVision?
WandaVision.
He just remakes WandaVision, but with Spawn characters. Oh my god!
All right. So
starting on the right foot tonight, boys.
My stomach hurts. Hi everybody, we're back doing TV. Connor's here, Eric's here, Hunter's here, Arlen's here, and Lewis here. There we go.
Wow. Took you a while to find my name.
Yeah.
I am racist. I am a racist.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. You're definitely canceled now.
Yeah.
I told Leo to come in like 20 minutes to crash the party.
Wait, he's got to call an Uber first.
So, with this week, so what'd you guys think of the new Batwoman? That's the biggest news story, right? When it comes to comics TV?
Yeah, it is.
I saw an article and it was like, why Batwoman is the most polarizing CW show. I'm like, I don't think it's polarizing. I don't think anybody gives a shit.
I didn't know it came back, honestly.
It's 3 episodes back. I watched the first one right before we started recording, and it was fine.
Oh wow, that's not a very glowing endorsement.
Yeah.
Wow, Lou, you're really selling us on it.
I mean, you're part of the pro CW contingent of the show.
I know.
So you're someone who's like, yeah.
Here's all you have to know: they didn't technically kill Kate, but her batsuit was on a plane that crashed, and they did like a big hush storyline.
Was
fucking kidding me?
Was it taking a trip?
She was taking a trip from National City to
West New Jersey.
To Gotham too. So because she could want to figure out how to destroy Kryptonite, and then the main new girl just finds the suit in the plane crash.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No.
That's hilarious.
All right, let's move on to
someone
things.
Please kill me before we talk anymore about any more CW shows.
That is, hang on. That for any program, for any show, that's a fucking deplorable way to read your character. Like,
hey, we're not doing this.
Batman's carcass and an allegory.
Yeah,
I'm the Cape Crusader now. Like,
all right.
Even Ruby Rose doesn't deserve this,
guys.
Or our breath.
There are multiversal things happening that we need to discuss.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was called Christ on Infinite Earth. It already happened.
Hunter's so excited. He's just blowing into his microphone.
Yeah,
I know. So I guess I'll be the one to say this. Evan Peters is back as fucking Pietro Maximoff.
It's so like, okay. Can we talk about the reveal of that?
Okay, you know what? That's a good point, because if they didn't do the shot behind his head of the stark silver hair, I don't think it would have affected me the same way. But the fact they showed,
they gave him the hair color was of our Pietro.
Yeah, kick ass.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, it was the same like highlight thing where you had little bits of brown underneath. Yeah, it could have gone either way for a minute.
Yeah.
Well, that was
we're already well and above like the J. Jonah Jameson thing, where like it's J.K. Simmons showing up and like what is very clearly like an entirely different interpretation of a new version of that character, because like having him as this Alex Jones type like misinformation spouting talking face on a screen is very, very relevant. Yeah. And doesn't feel at all
the original and it's something they carried over into the game, which is
it wasn't shocking. It was in the game first, and like it's Sony, and we've spent enough time about them to know that like they were gonna do that eventually.
Right. And
So-
plus,
Yeah.
JK was like, "It's not like I'm ever going to be back in that other universe because you don't even remember me in it."
Mhm.
And
So-
I'm not talking about the Raimi one either.
Wait, what?
You don't remember that he's Commissioner Gordon?
Yeah.
Oh my
my
god! he
God.
is.
Oh my god, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like
By right, I mean Jeffrey Wright, because
He
he's
got all
Gordon now.
swole.
there's
Yeah.
3 fucking things in that movie, and then he's like, "Well, bye.
hmm
So
But
Okay.
Go to see
Mm.
your mothers again. Now I'm gonna go bother Spider-Man."
Exactly.
so like the reveal is great because like you said, like that little like hanging on thing they do where you're like, oh, is that him? And then you turns around and he's just there. And you're
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's
his line
seemingly
is fun.
just him from that movie too.
yeah.
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 I also love
Mhm.
Darcy's line. It's like, "Oh, they recast Pietro."
Yep.
Oh, did you
Yeah,
say
it
that?
He says,
Yes, she
she
did.
says specifically, she says, with like, shock and awe and like some, disbelief, she recast Pietro. Saying,
Oh,
what
wow.
she say, she says she recast Pietro, which is like, I think opens up a whole different can of worms.
Well, yeah, because it's like it plays on her reaction when she meets Monica. She's like, "Oh, like I'm Darcy, PhD, blah blah, big fan. I loved you," or whatever she says when she first meets her, and she just gets the death stare.
Well, that's I guess the big thing here is like, is this actually Pietro or is this just a manifestation of her desires?
But like
well-
the thing about
I
that is,
mean,
if you're doing that, why wouldn't you just get Aaron Taylor Thomas or whatever the fuck his name is?
well,
Also,
Yeah,
if I could say,
Aaron Taylor, Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
the original ATJ.
yeah, besides the kids, all the people are actually people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
And
the
we don't
thing.
really know what the deal with the kids are, but like Monica's like they're real. So must be real in some way.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's-
yeah.
Well, and I,
Mhm.
I doubt she would just slap an identity onto somebody because, like
Yeah.
him having his powers without her having to give them to her or give him, to them, or give them
Well,
to
we
him.
don't
We don't know
we
if he has his
know
powers.
that yet.
Yeah.
And
And also, like,
I'm inferring.
Yeah,
she seems genuinely surprised that he's there. So it also brings
Right.
up like one of the theories, like we don't really know if this is all her.
Yep.
So maybe
Okay,
it
here's the
wasn't
thing.
her.
They are
I mean,
leaning
it's
so hard into the idea of
Yeah.
Wanda being the villain that there's no way she is the villain.
Yes, exactly.
see, I
Because, like, even
well,
like,
there- yeah,
let's lean
there's a
on-
lot of red herrings all around. There's the whole Agent Ward thing. Yeah, and Dottie, of course, who
Yeah.
could be something, could be nothing.
Yeah, and also like we have to talk about Agnes for a bit because since the
Mhm.
beginning of the show, and Vision even says it. It says, "How is she always around with exactly what we need, exactly when we need it?" In this episode,
Mhm.
when Vision talks to Norm, he has to pull Norm out of a trance, and then he gets sucked back into it. Agnes needs no trigger. She's like, "All right, I'll just
No.
do that."
Well,
Beyond that, she's like, "Do you want me to do another take?"
Yeah, do you want to take it from the top?
A willing participant.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm more convinced now that she is actually Agatha. Harkness in some form.
Yeah.
Especially now with the way that her character is developing.
Yes. Also, she says, "There's no taming this tiger," which is supposed to be a joke. There are little
Mhm.
tigers all over that house, apparently.
Oh wow.
Wait, really?
There's I think it like in that episode, like I think it was Mr. Sunday Movies. Mason and James pointed out, like after that sequence, there's a toy tiger on the fucking table the whole time.
Huh.
Hmm.
So
Mhm.
so I personally, what I think is happening is I don't think she's from Wanda's Earth.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think something similar to that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, I've seen some theories bandied about, and it might not necessarily be that Wanda is completely behind everything that's going on, as to go with the
Right.
idea that she's not actually the villain, that someone is augmenting her powers or piggybacking onto her powers to kind of
Mhm.
test the waters and see what's going on. And I mean, I've seen Mephisto thrown around only because he seems like the most logical choice, but I don't think they're ready to go there yet. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
I
I
don't.
think Mephisto. Here's the thing: all the magic in this universe has been explained away via like either science or nature.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
because
like,
of the whole China thing. That's like
Which is why, which is why
Yeah.
I think Hunter's theory about Agatha being from another universe plays well, because you can say, well, she's from a universe where there is like magic, not the sort of magic that we've been established already. And I think that there will be a Mephisto type. There will be like a stand-in, and Marvel's done that many times, where they've taken stories and they've put in a stand-in character who is clearly very similar to pre-existing characters, but not exactly that character. And I mean, I feel like it would be like a low-level version of Dormammu, some sort of like multi-dimensional being that is maybe behind a lot of this.
I mean,
that's a theory.
At this point, there's no reason that Dormammu couldn't be involved.
I mean, as like the guy behind the guy behind the guy.
Exactly, as like the hand moving the hand moving the hand. Like,
I mean, the other name that I've seen mentioned a few times was Nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
I could see that, but that would, I don't know. I don't
think it'd be
see
traditional
No.
Nightmare if they do it.
And a name that I saw was earlier today from a video I was watching is Chon. Is that right?
Who?
Yeah, he's the Dark Pact guy. Fuck.
Sean Lee.
No, his name's just C asterisk, not asterisk. Whatever the apostrophe.
Hyphen?
Yeah, hyphen HON.
I guess he took over Wanda during Secret Invasion.
When he betrayed Jeff Bridges to become Rinsler.
Right. Yes. No. He took over Wanda during Nazi Captain America storyline.
Yeah.
That we've all forgotten about now.
Funny you mention that, because there's people out there who are like, Chris Evans is coming back. He's doing the Hydra cap. I'm like, no, it's
no.
He would definitely not come back.
It's never happening.
No,
the only thing I could see him coming back for is if they do some weird, like the new Secret Wars thing, and it's just like a shot of him, like old man Steve Rogers from another universe fighting old man Hugh Jackman Logan as a cutaway. Yeah. Like that's the only thing I could see them using like those guys for.
Yeah, I thought for a while that he would be, depending on how they want to figure out the whole how his time travel works and whether or not he exists in the same universe, I thought he would be a good replacement for Stan Lee. To have him, Old Man Cap, be the cameo for a while.
Could be fun.
Yeah, that could be, but I mean, I think that's giving them entirely too much credit to think that the audience is going to think about the time travel thing too much. Yeah, because I mean, thinking about the way Endgame went, like I love that movie, but it was just kind of like time travel. Here's our explanation. Shut up.
Yeah,
like,
I also think it kind of takes
that's the best way to explain time travel, because time travel is already fucking nonsense to begin with, and
the
harder you explain it, the dumber it sounds. So just like whatever, hand wave.
We know it's nonsense because after the fact, the directors and writers still don't agree as to how time travel in that movie works. None of them agree on how it actually works. So, yeah, it's like, it's whatever. It does what it needs to for the plot of that movie. We don't need to take it seriously. And when they introduce Kang, I guarantee they're not going to try to adhere to the rules that they established already. They're just going to do whatever the fuck they need to for the story.
Well, yeah, they're gonna basically have Banner be like, "I was so very wrong, and now it's costing us." Let's circle back to Pietro, because I feel like all of us have fucking weird ass theories on that. I think it has to do with the scene with the dead dog, which also conveniently includes Agnes appearing out of nowhere with a dead dog that we didn't see die.
Mm-hmm.
Very strange. Yeah. Also,
I think
why
she's
is
manipulating things? Yeah.
Why is on that block is allowed to grow a plant exclusively that will grow a plant that can kill an animal in that quantity? Why would Wanda allow that?
It's also the only animal we've seen that exists in the
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It also goes and so the boys are like, bring it back, and she kind of like she gets really distressed of the idea of bringing something back from the dead, and is pretty adamant against it. I think it has to do with like, I brought Vision back. He's not even a human being, and that's what he looks like when I lose my fucking focus. He's a robot zombie. I think
he's colorless, which is like so disturbing.
That movie found a way to make robot death graphic. It still looks all fucked up, and it bothers me. It's really unsettling. I think that because Pietro in this universe is dead, like quite dead, very dead. Like I don't think there's any way to bring him back now. The stones are gone. So in lieu of bringing him back, she either became aware of a different Pietro, or if we're on the idea of like she's being puppeted or influenced, someone fed her the information that there are other worlds out there that have other Pietros. Just go for, like they say in Flash,
just to shape. Yeah. Or
like in Flash season 2, when Harry's leaving, he says, "You guys want a Harrison Wells? Go find one. There's plenty of them."
See, I think it's no. I'm sorry, Lou. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, kind of piggyback off of what Connor was saying, like, in kind of like my theory is like, well, the stones aren't gone. That's one of the things that we knew is like he destroyed them.
I'm gonna get to that.
Yeah, like they can't. They are the universe. Like they exist.
Yeah, I've been banging this drum for a while that the stones just don't have a physical form anymore.
Yeah, stones are unattainable because you reduce them down to a form that is unattainable for human hands. You can't get them. You can't assemble their atoms unless you are powerful enough to do so.
Two things. One, in one of the earlier trailers for the show, there's a shot where you see what looks like her forming the Soul Stone back together. And maybe they're reversing it and they're showing it being blown apart again. I don't know, but it heavily implies that the Soul Stone is around in one way or another, or at least she's going to try and bring it back. The other thing is with Connor, with what you were saying, with like where she was either fed the information or whatever about alternate Pietro. I don't even think it's that. I think it's that what's going on with her, and either A, she's potentially being puppeted, or B, her powers are just that insane. She doesn't know that she's doing something like that. She just, her desire was, because she got all wisty and when she was thinking about him, when the boys were talking to her, and even when Monica brought up her brother, like obviously Pietro is still a big wound for her. So her desire to have another member of her family back is, I think, what made him appear in whatever form he did. Like I'm still banging on this is their soft introduction of mutants. I know you don't agree with that, Arlen, 100%, but I think this is their way of just being like,
I think it's a way of softly pushing in, like a knock on the door of mutants.
I gotta touch something Erik said. So in the Mr. Sunday Movies video, they pointed out that in the early few minutes of that episode, everything like if you look around the edges of some objects, there is a weird red saturated glow around very specific things, including the boys, Vision, I think the dog, and some of the furniture. It's barely noticeable. So that, like, you're saying she got all wispy and like she kind of like when she was like kind of got lost. Like, I don't know if it happens there, but maybe part of this is all very subconscious, and it's like a muscle. It's just a reflexive action.
Well, here's my I hear this thought constantly. This is a theory I hear, is that he's a nod, and I'm like, I don't see why you would go through the trouble of making him Evan Peters if you're not going to like make it a thing.
I think it will be. I think it's going to be a thing.
And the way they introduced him, if he was just like walked around the background where she just noticed him, that's one thing. But having a nod is having
Lou Ferrigno greet Edward Norton in the original Hulk movie. That's a nod.
Yeah. Like, this is very much like this. Look, he's here.
This is on the fucking crazy nose. Yeah, it would be insane. I would be shocked if there isn't a scene where they're talking to him and he's talking about another universe and talking about events that did not happen in our MCU. If he's describing events from the Singerverse, that would be insane if they didn't
Yeah, like
do that.
can you imagine like what happens with Norm happens with Pietro? Like he's like, "Who are you? What am I doing here? Last I remember, I was blah 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 Mystique, fucking Professor X. He's been, he left the mansion. Jean's dead. Something like, well, they think Jean's dead. Like, what if he just does a soft recap of like the end of Dark Phoenix?
Could be something like that. I could definitely see that.
I really just watched those movies.
His timeline stops right after Days of Futures Past.
So here's my thing. Well, this is just my crazy, insane conspiracy theory here. It's in no way right. Probably. I think
we'll see.
I think Catherine Hahn is from the same universe as Pietro.
Catherine Hahn, who Agnes?
Yeah, Agnes. Sorry.
Okay.
Her name. I think she might.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's like the slightest possibility that she might be a mutant of some sort.
Could be.
And that something happened that she is trying to get Wanda to pull them all into an Earth where they can actually exist.
Oh, you know what? Let me piggyback off that for a second. What if? So let's say she is some sort of a magical entity, and maybe she has precognition. Maybe she can see events before they happen. What if she becomes aware? No, hang on. What if she becomes aware of what befalls mutants in Logan? What if she's aware that people are trying to wipe them out? What if there's no mutants in Logan because she fucking teleported them off that fucking planet?
See, I think Disney is not going to really fuck around with the pre-existing X-Men stuff. Like,
here's the thing, though. This wouldn't be fucking with it. This would be supplementing it, because like they don't really tell you what happens to everybody in that.
They also don't need to explain the disaster that happens to them. They can just be like,
they also, and like they say like the X-Men are dead, but they never. Well, it's implied the X-Men are dead. No one knows what the fuck happens in that movie. Every bit of information you have is being cut off.
They do suggest. The one thing I do remember is they suggest heavily that
Xavier killed them.
What's the fucking company?
Essex.
Essex. They suggest that Essex basically systematically
bred them out of existence because they just put like a gene suppressor in the water. But like maybe as that's going on, because like getting rid of like, I don't know, by the time X-Men 3 rolls around, like I imagine there's millions of them. Like systematically breeding existence is a good way to do it. But like if at some point suddenly, I don't know, half of them vanished, your job becomes a lot easier.
I can't.
I don't think that they go explicit.
I
am willfully getting lost in this for the moment.
I also think the Singer stuff is like kind of like super toxic at this point.
And that's why I think Logan is a good place to start, because Logan's fucking James Mangold, and it's like it is a sacred place on that movie series.
Yeah, but I don't think it would do them any favors to try and touch any of that.
Also, like I said, this is just my insane conspiracy theory that I don't think it's actually happening.
Threading the line here just a little bit, just to give this out here. I think that Pietro, and specifically Evan Peters, is a sign that there is a desire by people, specifically Kevin, who does have a connection to those movies. He was a part of those movies up until I think Last Stand, which is a good place for anybody to jump.
He's also arguably one of the better parts of the movies.
Yeah.
I think that there is a desire by him to pick and choose the pieces that aren't as bad, and to say, well, I'm going to save this piece. So I don't think they'll do individual events and address things that actually happened.
There is no way.
But you're saying that if Kevin Feige says like, let's get Beast, but there's no way I'm doing this without Kelsey Grammer.
No,
actually, no, don't do that.
No. I think
what I'm saying is like, if they can bring in the girl who played Laura in some way, they will. If they
That's what I'm saying. Like he would. I'm not saying
they will.
Not even saying specifically.
I don't think they'll address the events of Logan. I don't think they'll like try to address the events of Dark Phoenix.
Well, what Arlen is saying.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that because the reception to Kelsey Grammer as Beast was so good, he would look at that as a positive piece of that series and go, "We can get this. Fuck this. Fuck this. We get this. This is great. This is received well. Fuck this."
Exactly. Yeah.
Like I
I'm
said,
saying, where he would look at that and go, "Let's get Beast, but why not get Kelsey Grammer because people loved him?"
there is absolutely no way all of that cast is returning.
Fuck no.
Also, Kelsey Grammer is a toxic human being. So
At this point, because I'm saying because that's just like now you have Nicholas Hoult. Like, there's no reason to get Kelsey Grammer because Nicholas Holt's done it 3 times now too. So
I just purely from a standpoint of like Marvel wanting to do their own thing and Disney wanting to do their own thing, I don't see them wanting to touch any of that stuff. They're leaving it in its separate little, like, we own it, but that's it. Like this is how it exists, and that's how it's going to exist for perpetuity.
I do see
No,
how they would cherry pick the things that are good though, because like obviously Deadpool's coming. Like
but Deadpool.
What if they do like a
Go ahead.
What if they do like I don't know. What if you did like a soft adaptation of fucking Hickman's Avengers? Like that was another Earth, and it got wiped out in some undisclosed catastrophe, and they were all plucked. Select people were mutants were plucked from disaster.
Well, that's like the theory of like them doing Secret Wars 3. Like if we're a convergence of some way, and you get like, oh well, that's how that's how Miles Morales got added to the line, and like Spider-Gwen and stuff. Like
Well, but also Multiverses of Madness is coming up. It's
and they've said this is going to tie directly into the events of Multiverse of Madness.
Right. So they're definitely thinking about this, and they're thinking of, well, how can we bring the actress who played Laura back? How can we do X, Y, and Z without having to worry?
How can we get Ben Affleck back?
Oh God,
that is like okay. That was my.
Well, he's too busy playing.
I think you have the wrong
Slade Wilson.
Oh God.
So I think you mean how can we get Colin Farrell back?
Oh no.
No, I think you mean how can we get Jennifer Gardner back? She did 2 of those movies.
No, please no. That was like when I saw Evan Peters, there was a small like voice in the back of my mind like, oh no, they're gonna bring back Ben Affleck.
To do what? Like Charlie Cox is supposedly back.
Yeah,
that would be like Charlie Cox has a pulse. Like that would be insane. Like what are you doing?
Kevin Feige's like, fuck you, I can do it.
He walks in Marvel and starts beating the shit out of Charlie Cox in front of Kevin Feige. He's like, I'm twice your size. I was Batman. Kevin Feige over the throat. Put me back in.
They're like, shit, maybe we should make him Moon Knight.
Actually, that would be pretty awesome.
Turns around, just beat the fuck out of Oscar Isaac. He was there now for some reason.
That would have been like amazing casting if he wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Like that would have been perfect.
It's actually not bad.
But yeah, we also have all the stuff with Spider-Man that we know is coming as well, like multiverse-wise.
Hang on, wait.
Real stuff.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Because like the news cycle for that movie is so insane. I can't keep track of anything. Like one day, some site is like Charlie Cox just wrapped up his filming on Spider-Man 3. I'm like, how did he wrap up filming? He didn't begin.
Yeah, I mean,
like if he started filming it, people would fucking know. He's like he showed up and he's done before he started.
The only hard confirms we have are Jamie Foxx, and apparently in an interview, Zendaya had said something about working with Alfred Molina. Yeah.
Oh, I thought Garfield was confirmed. He's not.
I haven't heard anything.
Stories going around of Garfield being seen on set.
Okay. I think that's the same thing with Charlie Cox, right? There's rumors that he was seen on set, and the one everybody wants. And there are 2 Marvel superhero lawyers. One is Daredevil that everybody wants, and the other one we already know is getting a TV show down the road.
And then he's going to be in there.
Yeah.
Now, in the meanwhile of all of this, Tobey Maguire is somewhere playing 15 poker games online at the same time.
I can totally take this Spider-Man movie without him.
Me too.
No, he
'cause-
doesn't want to, Connor. That's the point.
No,
He's
I
perfectly fine playing poker for the rest of his life
I-
because he's better at it.
I think his Spider-Man fucking sucks. So
He's a better. He's the best Pete. Well, until Holland, he's the best Peter.
Oh yeah,
See,
but
I-
also
I even disagree there because like there's some stuff that Garfield does in those movies that are really big. Here's the thing: Garfield's acting is a different tier than Toby, so some of the stuff he does, while silly, is so fucking effective because Garfield's great.
I'm gonna pull my
I just
hood up and
maybe
skateboard.
it's more. Like,
I'm gonna get sad over Coldplay.
me in high school.
I'm sorry, I can't get.
I am 28
get
years
Andrew
old. And I'm a
Garfield
senior in high
being-
school.
I
Yeah,
can't
but-
get him being sad as that fucking song that played on every fucking radio station played. Just, I'm sorry. I don't care if he's a good actor. It's just like, no thanks, never again. I don't
See,
need that
The
in my
problem,
life.
the problem of making Tobey Maguire a Spider-Man again is because he'd have to go back to the nursing home by 6 because it's bedtime.
Well, Matlock. will
You
be on in
shut
half
your
an hour.
mouth. That
So-
man has more diseases from sex than you can have your
Oh,
entire
well,
life.
Yeah. Fun side note about Tobey Maguire. He, Leonardo DiCaprio, I forget
Pussy
who else,
Posse.
and David Blaine were part of a group called the Pussy Posse.
oh,
and
it was
they were
much
all-
bigger than that. I'm gonna look up. Who
Well, I
I
know, but those
hate
are the names that I remember mostly.
That is-
yeah,
Yeah, no, those are the alphas of the
Yeah,
Pussy
yeah.
Posse.
the
Can't believe I'm about
Alphas.
to Google the Pussy Posse.
Turn search off.
Well, outside of how he normally looks up the Pussy Posse, how have we fucking gotten here?
I don't
we
know.
are
please title the episode the Pussy Posse.
Oh, it's David Blaine, Tobey Maguire, Jay Ferguson, Josh
That's it.
Miller, Ethan Suplee,
Yep.
and Scott Bloom. Wait,
Of course,
Supplee's the
Ethan
weird one.
Suplee. It has to be fat Ethan Suplee too to make it even
Yes.
better. It can't
Not
be
yoked Ethan Suplee that he is now.
It can't be yoked Scientology Suplee doesn't get anything. He's
Pussy Posse.
God damn it. Anyways, I think that
WandaVision.
I think Petro is a sign of something. That's the thing. Whatever theory you throw out, I think it's all
Well, all right, well,
it's
before we
all
go
legitimate and it all could happen.
I think in
but-
my head right now, I think that it's like a lot of subconscious stuff because
Mhm.
from Wanda in the comics, she has been able to just make shit in the past. Like,
Right.
it's weird. It's like I hate the comics mostly, but like it's what the movies pulled from a lot. The Ultimates, like Ultimate Wanda, created the Savage Land in those books.
Yeah, I will say, like,
Mhm.
here's the thing: like, the MCU has done more for that comic as far as like farming bad material and making it really fucking accessible. Because I think those comics are gross and terrible.
Yeah.
But like they managed to pull from that like some stuff that just works regardless of where it is and where it's being used. And they fucking ran with it, and I'm glad they did. And it kind of makes me grateful for those comics, and that's the only reason I'm grateful for
The
those
cap,
comics.
the MCU cap is like 85% the Ultimate cap, except
Yeah.
they cut off all the shittiness.
Except for
Yeah.
all the jingoism and and shittiness,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the I'm gonna fuck your wife attitude he has towards Hank Pym.
Well,
Well,
their Hank Pym is the worst Hank Pym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Mhm.
Yes,
that's
because
that
like
is a
they managed to like
hard-
how do we make Hank Pym hitting his wife worse? He tries to murder.
Yeah.
Oh, and then after that, how do we make Hank Pym even worse? Well, he starts a new super team, and there's an underage girl on the team.
Yep.
Nope. Nope.
And-
Don't like.
Underage Valkyrie.
And how do
sleeping
we
with her.
cap this story off? We have the Blob eat her dead corpse after a flood kills everybody.
Well, no, a giant man got killed by Jamie Madrox.
I
don't
hate
remember that
this.
part.
I hate all of this.
Hold-
I
You
think
don't like? Was it Mark Millar?
Yeah, I mean, I can go grab Ultimatum and tell you what all the deaths were if you want.
Oh
me to.
yeah,
I
they're
have it
all
upstairs.
fucking
Okay.
horrendous.
Oh,
Yeah.
and we also forgot in that book, it's like heavily implied that Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
They fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Nope. No, okay. That's it.
Yeah,
We're done.
It's
We're
also implied that Wolverine might be their mom or might be their dad.
Wait, their mom?
Okay,
their
that's
mom?
not that. That's
I've seen some images on.
On
Hey,
Tumblr?
as opposed to their 616 mom, who is a mutated, evolved cow.
Yeah.
all right. Anyways, I think it could be as simple as this, and it's dumb, so I'm not sure I'll like it. But the explanation that it's because Evan Peters' movies took place in the 80s,
Yep.
and that's why he looks like Evan Peters.
Oh no, I'm 100% for that.
Yeah, like that's the kind of explanation
That's
that
not a
I
bad
can
idea.
see.
I mean,
I,
but
I
still,
fucking hate it.
I don't like that.
I fucking hate it
think
because
makes sense.
that is worthless surface level nonsense that doesn't actually do anything for anyone.
I mean, it could be both, though. I think it will play into larger things. Again, if they weren't doing Multiverse of Madness and we didn't know that that was happening, I would say, well, yeah, that's just what it's going to be. But I think there will be some larger thing that comes from him being Evan Peters. I just don't know if it's going to be anything that complicated. Or if it's going to be anything that
Also, wait. Days of Futures Past takes place in the 60s.
70s.
70s.
Takes place in the 90s.
Yeah, but okay, if you're looking at the number,
you're
Apocalypse is the 80s.
80s.
Apocalypse is
Phoenix
the
is the
90s.
90s.
It's like early 90s, so that's why I say
those,
that. It's
those
like
timelines don't make a fucking lick of sense.
Oh,
well,
as having just watched the movies last week,
Which is exactly
no, they
why they
fucking
shouldn't
don't.
pull anything from them.
No,
Yeah,
they don't.
because like 30 years pass in that universe in those movies, and nobody ages a fucking day.
no.
Well, not just that. Every time there's a new movie, they forget the ending of the previous movie.
Uh-huh. No, they
Because
forget the
if you
entire
wind
plot
that
of the
timeline-
previous movie.
If you line up that
Remember
timeline, they show the future in Days of Future Past. How do we get that future after the other two movies?
I don't know. Well,
That
okay.
timeline doesn't exist anymore.
My theory on that is that the future you see in Days of Futures Past is
that doesn't exist. Yeah,
is a potential future that could have happened if certain things happened the way they did. It's like a what if story that became canon.
If Brian finished his bag of cocaine that his boy Thrall gave to him.
God damn it.
It's his cocaine covered boy. Instead of like.
God damn it. But yeah, Lou, those events were erased. The only person that remembers them is Wolverine. Anyways, what the fuck are we talking about?
I got really riled up with the show.
WandaVision. So that's 30 minutes on Pietro. Let's talk about the actual show because we haven't actually done that.
When Spawn fought Overkill, I was the edge of my seat.
Quiet now. I'm quiet.
And then he made him flashback to Vietnam.
No, the show has been consistently great.
Yeah.
Like
it's too slow, Eric. It's too slow.
It's not like the other
I canceled
MCU
Disney
stuff.
Plus the first 2 episodes. I didn't pay for a sitcom.
No explosions. No explosions.
So this is not me agreeing or defending the slow people. I do want to point out one thing though, because I do a podcast with a man who is French Canadian. He has a different perspective on media than the rest of us.
This is a lot of caveats.
Yeah.
And he has no context for
Fucking socialist.
He has God damn it.
Pinko bastard.
He has no context for old sitcoms. He doesn't know I Love Lucy. Well, he knows I Love Lucy, but he doesn't know the rest of them. No, he doesn't. In French, because French Canada
is Canadian.
Harlan, they're not all Canadians who are saying this. Let's be real.
I know. I'm just saying. I want to point this out. That there are perspectives other than our very American.
I have family members from other countries that know all the references that have seen Mary Tyler Moore.
Okay, Lou, how old are they? How old are those people?
They vary in age from Erik to younger than Erik.
Tobey Maguire. How they
I like that. I like that on like an age barometer. Lou was like, Erik is the oldest thing ever, and then there's everyone else.
I'm not saying that this is all the people that are. I'm just saying this is a thing we should be aware of before we assume that
That's-
everybody
no,
who
that's-
thinks it's
Hang on,
slow.
I don't even want to address the slow shit because that's coming from people who have no fucking patience and no respect for
Yeah.
story development. And we're very clearly sleeping on all the moments in the first 2 episodes where shit got weird so fast and got creepy, like
And that stuff works.
Instantly.
Well,
to a
Yeah.
level
I
this
think-
universe hasn't gotten to yet.
I think everybody thinks that stuff is good. I think I'm just saying there's some people who are not getting the sitcom-iness and it's not affecting them. And I just want to say that that's a thing that I understand.
what I
but
want to say though
everybody
is
agrees
My
that the
8-year-old
creepiness
niece gets it and likes it.
works. Okay.
it's
Okay,
no, what
Lou.
I want to say though is that like even if you don't understand the direct idea of what sitcom it might be referencing, you still
Right.
get the idea that it's from a sitcom of the era.
Sure.
So I
Hmm.
think, I mean, it like Lou said, or Hunter said, I'm not sure who it was. They said like, well, it is just one person. Like, I do understand what you're trying to point out, Arlen, and I do
Yes.
appreciate that. But I think the ideas that they're trying to present within what they're doing with the show, this pastiche of old
Yeah.
sitcoms, is universal. Like,
I think it mostly
almost
works.
everybody, but like probably North Korea had something like this.
Right. I think a lot of these references do hit for
Yeah.
a lot of people. So my larger point though was the people that aren't those people, they fucking suck and they should shut up.
Well,
They don't-
exactly.
I don't
Yeah.
care.
I literally saw, I can't remember what group it was in. Someone posted like, I was today years old when I learned Elizabeth Olsen is related to the Olsen twins.
Well,
Those
okay.
kind of people exist.
Yeah, dude. I was one of those people for a long time because I look at her and I look at those two those anorexia witches. I go, there's no way. Like,
They look alike.
Yeah, they do.
Connor-
They're
Sure.
incredibly alike.
Yeah.
No, Connor,
Like,
yeah,
almost
no,
like they're
she
blood
just-
related.
Yeah, no, she looks like the alternate timeline version of them, where they like
Good
grew up to
time.
be like
Also-
healthy, normal adults.
yeah. Also,
who
like
are-
they're so far removed from anything I give a shit about that they've ceased to exist in my immediate vision because like they don't make movies anymore. They don't act anymore. They
Yeah.
don't do anything
Well,
anymore because they have
that's
so much
because
They
fucking
don't
money.
need,
They
they
can
don't need
Billionaires.
They exist
Exactly.
to be,
Exactly.
yeah.
fuck off and disappear, and no one's gonna give a shit because they have so much money they don't care.
Yeah, I
Right.
think the last thing either of them did was Beastly.
What?
Yeah,
Were
they're
they
the
in
witch.
Beastly? I have
They're-
no
One
idea.
of them is the witch in Beastly.
You ever played
That-
the Wii game?
There's a Wii game.
Yeah.
One of them had
Uh,
a brief role in I think the movie's called Dope. It's about a guy in the mid '90s who sells pot out of an ice cream thing. It's a good movie, but she played a like bohemian like New York girl who had more money
Oh.
than sense and like was hooking up with an older professor that the main character was friends with.
Hell
Oh my
yeah.
God.
This isn't even an After Dark, and we are so fucking
Yeah.
off the
I know
fucking
who gives a
track.
shit. About, I don't care about the Olsen twins. I
Anyways,
want to talk
first
about
saw her,
Paul.
I was like, yeah, that's an Olsen, obviously.
I
So yeah,
didn't give a shit until someone pointed out to me. Anyway, I want to talk about Vision because I want to talk about Paul Bettany and Vision because like the longer the show goes, the more Bettany gets to do with. What the fuck are you doing, Hunter?
Sorry. Anyway, Paul Bettany.
Baby
Paul Bettany
Vision.
gets to do more and more as his character, other than be like stoic, wise robot who occasionally cracks joke. I'm not saying his character lacks depth in those movies because he doesn't. I think he's really interesting, and if you want evidence of that, I took my friend who hadn't seen any of those movies and took him through Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame in 2 small sprints, and he was like, I really like Vision. And he hadn't even seen fucking Age of Ultron yet, which I think is where he's arguably the most interesting.
When the scene where he picks up there was like, oh, you forgot this.
Well, that and the scene, the conversation with Ultron, where they're like, it's 2 synthetic life forms talking about like the minutia of humanity, and one is like they're yin and yang. One's like they're all doomed, they should be destroyed, and Vision's like, yeah, but why not give them some more time? And I've been here for 2, and I've been here for 12 hours. Like, to see him to see Paul Bettany be drunk Vision, be stoic Vision, be sad Vision, or be fucking pissed off because I can't remember what happened 3 weeks ago Vision, is really interesting. And I really can't wait to see the moment where he realizes that he is actually factually dead. Because I want to see this character have that level of an existential crisis. I want to see what he does.
Well, that should be the next episode because they believe if they're in the 90s, that's the Halloween episode.
Yes, and that is one I think he tries to leave from the what the
and
TV show.
Han goes like, "Are we dead?" And he's like, from the trailer, and he's like, "Why would you say that?" It's like, "Because you are."
Because you are.
Yeah.
But the teaser they released shows Vision trying to break out, and we saw Wanda leave with no problem. We saw Monica leave, granted with some help, with no problem. The trailer they released, Vision is trying to leave, and it's blowing him apart piece by piece.
Well, I'm wondering if that's because of what she did in this episode.
It's also because it turned red at the end.
Yes. Yeah.
It's also Wanda wanted Monica gone.
Yep.
As well as
because she didn't fit in like
she wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, like
also,
they were
go ahead. So that footage of when Wanda goes to get Vision's body, like, did anybody make out what the fuck's happened in that room? Because it looks like he's been disassembled.
He's vivisected. He's in pieces at different tables.
Yeah, well, I think it's a throwback. It'll take me a little bit to find the image. I'll post it in the chat then. But yeah, it's a throwback to an issue when it was shortly before he became White Vision, like when he was taken over or something like that, and they took him apart. And there's a shot of him at the end of the issue where he's just completely pulled apart, and they're putting him back together again.
Yeah, like, again, they've managed to make the idea of like violence against a machine that has no organic tissue like really unsettling and graphic. And like, I can't see like the condition he's in, but I thought I saw like a torso. I'm like, oh my god, they pulled him apart. Like,
yeah. Well, that goes to like what we're in our chat. Like, I was like, they did something like. Because the time period from the end of Tony's funeral to where this show starts is like 3 weeks. Something happened where, like, she like had a breakdown, but like them doing that to his body is insane. And she seems to know that going in. Like,
me and Lou are kind of on the same train here. Agent Ward is fiddling with stuff that he shouldn't. He's doing things against Vision's wishes. I think he's lying about.
Oh, he seems like he's real shady.
I think he is a secondary villain, straight up, not antagonist. Yeah. I think he is a secondary bad guy.
I don't know about villain. I think more antagonist, like a Burke from Aliens, is what I'm getting.
I kind of think he's gonna die horribly by the end of this. I think he's gonna do something that makes like he has it coming.
That's why I say like, he's gonna totally like try and fuck somebody over and get eaten in some way by some entity.
Because like in that briefing like certain people
was trying to explain stuff.
He is trying to defame Wanda in every sense of the word, like, and just offer his own warped perception of what happened, and gives the worst description of the events in Lagos in Germany possible. And like everyone around him is kind of like, what are you even doing? Like, why are you talking about it like this?
See, to me, that wasn't like, evil. That was like bureaucratic spin. Like, we might have to kill an Avenger.
I was surprised that we didn't pan over and see Thunderbolt Ross's hand directly up his asshole, puppeteering him.
I think on what Lou is saying, like, it's that's just bureaucratic bullshit. Like, he is a hardline believer in the Sokovia Accords, and she has broken every bit of the Sokovia Accords from what we know from the movies.
And I think that actually makes him even shittier because, like, the Sokovia Accords, I agree, are an important part of that universe, and like the reason they got created is important. However, once you have a Thanos, I think that becomes like you rip it up. You're like, well, this is no longer applicable.
Have you taken a look at our country recently?
Oh, I know that. But even the most cynical parts of the MCU are a little more optimistic. Even with the, but from a logical perspective, like, that would need to be amended, changed, or destroyed outright. Because, do you want to control? You want to put the Avengers on a leash when you have someone who can roll down and go, like, I'm gonna kill everybody.
See,
we
I
know
think the
practically
opposite
that
of you.
happened, though. Well, so here's the
I
thing:
think
we
it would
know
be the opposite of
practically, though that governments did nothing. Cap's not
Yeah.
in prison at the beginning of
Exactly.
Avengers Endgame.
So this dude is using the existence of them while not being in, like maybe they exist and not being enforced because maybe it's an unspoken thing. Like, yeah, we have the Sokovia Accords, but a fucking space conqueror came and tried to fucking kill everybody. So maybe kind of hush about the Sokovia Accords for a while. And this might be, like Eric said, one
Yeah, I
of
can
those
see
fucking
that.
bureaucratic shitbags who's like, but what about this document over here that says she
Right.
can't do the thing?
But
See, I think the opposite would happen. I feel like after Thanos, they'd be like, we need to get all of our superpower people, like, we need them to be trained. We need them to be part of our government and our military. I think it would ramp up the other way.
I think both things happened to some degree. I think that there was some sort of amendment to the Sokovia Accords that because Cap seemed to be like very in charge and in control of things in the 5 years after.
Cap was allowed freedoms that they shouldn't have if you listen to how the Sokovia Accords were implied. Like, he broke so many rules that they already laid down. Like, in the first day, he should be in jail. He broke people out of prison that broke the Sokovia Accords, and they're all allowed to roam free.
Man, I can't wait for the flashback movie where they go over all the amendments and various additions to the Sokovia Accords.
I can't wait for it. 2 hours
Isn't that the Black Widow movie?
It's just
no. It's gonna be directed by Steven Spielberg. It's gonna look a lot like the movie Lincoln.
And I thought he was busy. Did he have a Blackhawks movie coming out?
Oh my god!
You're all wrong. It's just a soft remake of 12 Angry Men. They'll even get Tony Danza. Okay?
No, it's just going to be C-SPAN for 2.5 hours.
Put his parents' divorce in the movie, like he always.
But yeah, like everything happening with Vision is fantastic, and like when he finally decides to like, no, I'm gonna start asking questions, and that shit with the credits fucked me up for a second.
Yeah,
because
that
like
was so cool.
if the credits are rolling, I'm like, this is kind of a funny gag. I look down, I'm like, is this how the episode's gonna end? Because that'd be brilliant. And like the next episode picks up, and they're still fighting. But yeah, the credits are rolling, and she's like, no, the episode's over. Good night, everybody. And he's like, no. Then he starts yelling as they're still going. My brain is like, hold on, what the fuck? This is like when the WWE flashes their copyright logo and then someone's getting their ass kicked for 5 minutes afterwards. And you're like, no, you broke the rules. Like,
well, and that's
you make brain confused.
That's part of my thing with not being 100% sure what's going on at all times with the show, because there are people who show autonomy, and Vision is one of them. So
because he's part of Wanda. Because he's part of he is just
it's him.
He's an extension of Wanda, so he has the ability to like touch people's brains and wake them up because he's an extension of her. He's a projection of her.
So that also implies that he's like, because it's like he can't just be a puppet because he has his powers.
Yep.
Yes, but I mean it's really hard when you're talking about robots having souls. I don't know if he's like purely Vision. He's not the same Vision that died from Thanos.
This goes to one of like
the thing with like, so okay, the thing about robots having a soul, like you look at Ultron, you're like, there's what is in there is cold digital like savagery. Like there's no humanity in that machine. He does have a weird emotional arc with Wanda and Pietro because he welcomes them in, he trusts them, and they betray him. And since they're all kids of the fucking Mind Stone, essentially, he feels hurt, which is like the depth of his emotional core. But like Vision, like was birthed and took one look at a human Skyway and said, like, this race must be preserved. And like while that's it flips Ultron's perspective on its head. It also comes from a sense of like cold machinery doesn't feel that way immediately. That's like he had a fucking epiphany.
Right.
And he has one at the end of Age of Ultron too. He's like, no, there's this like these entities are wonderful and we should give them a chance. And he operates emotionally in Civil War. Wanda goes down and he goes to protect her, and someone's like, hey, give us a hand, Vision. He's like, what the fuck ever, and just does like a half-hearted shot, and that's how he takes Rhodey out.
Well,
I do think that I do think that the method of his creation being a like his own. There's nothing like him on the fuck. There's nothing like him in the universe, as far as we know.
Right. No,
So I think the nature of his
so,
existence it's so enigmatic that you can say like maybe there is something inside of there that is like some spark of what we think is a soul.
Yes. I think what I'm getting at is, so to use a previous movie as an example, Doctor Strange. He doesn't have that moment that the Ancient One has, where she's able to leave her body and astral project. If he went to Kamartaj and he learned all that stuff, it wouldn't work the same way for him. If he decided to go through all that,
yes,
and it wouldn't do the same things to him, and he wouldn't be able to have that moment of slowing down time so he could etch out extra minutes. It just would work differently. That's what I mean by a soul, more or less. Like the way that his energy actually works is just different. So it becomes a problem when you're talking about, well, is it actually vision or is it not? Is a toaster any different after you've unplugged it and plugged it back in?
A toaster is a mechanism, like it's a machine.
Yeah.
Right.
It has no
I know. I'm just
processing.
saying, like, to really like boil it down.
He's got a point.
Like, a ridiculous degree.
Well, if I could go to
That doesn't necessarily hold up completely.
Hold on. Like I want to just say like at some point in this show we basically said like the toaster has no soul. Like
Yes.
Arlen is officially saying robots do not dream of electric sheep.
Yes.
Exactly.
No,
They just
Louis.
turn off.
But with the destruction of the Mind Stone, which was it is a cosmic artifact, but in Age of Ultron they establish it thinks, it makes decisions. It has like processing power. It is essentially a brain. So like that to me is where Vision gets his uniqueness from. It's because it is the thing that makes him what he is, and he even says that. Like now that it's gone, what is that? Like what is happening?
Well, going back to something that Erik pointed out, they showed the stone coming back together. So like we don't. I think we'll get more context as to how Vision coming back works.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I also
before
think
you go off on another tangent, I think Lou had something he wanted to bring up.
Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say I think when I was talking to my brother yesterday about stuff, and something I liked that he said was and they brought it up in the episode between when they brought up the Captain Marvel stuff, is those are at least two characters whose power sets come from stones. And if the stones are destroyed, what if the energy, since she was made by it, like Vision was, what if the thing controlling her and doing all this stuff is the stone? Like she's the stone, she's the embodiment of it currently.
I think that's highly likely, and I've had a theory for a while that I think that we're gonna see every stone have a person at some point.
That's what I think. He was and it makes a lot of sense if you think about Jane Foster and the ether. That could be a way where she pulls, because Mjolnir is destroyed.
And I mean, we don't have an establishment for how they're gonna do their version of Nova, and the Power Stone was on Nova Corps, so who knows what we'll see, what will happen with that, and the way that they decide to depict Nova.
Are you basically saying that there are select individuals that would be chosen, because I think these stones are conscious. I think they're all alive.
I mean, chosen in a sense, like they mold destiny.
Do you think that some people who are disproportionately affected by them are essentially then chosen, and then whatever energy is left from what Thanos did to them would gravitate towards that person?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm really into that, actually.
Yeah, because it would make it makes Wanda cosmically important. Captain Marvel, if she has the power of the Tesseract, is basically the most powerful being in existence, which they've been kind of saying. And they basically said about Wanda too, is she could have killed Thanos on her own.
I mean, they are the two most powerful Avengers. They're the two most powerful, and we haven't seen it yet. We don't even know what a fight between the two of them would look like, or if it could even end, because of the levels of power that they both have are insane.
I also want to add real quick that it is really interesting to see a group of people who are not involved in something like the final battle of Endgame, all having experienced it through some other means, either debriefed and having opinions on it, because you don't we don't see a lot of that in this universe. We don't see people who are so far removed from the action discuss it. Like
It's very rare.
Well,
You
you
get
haven't
like
had the
Natalie
chance.
Portman talking about New York. You get like these little snippets here and there. You get like Anthony Mackie being like, "What you do is gods and blah blah blah. That's not me. I just have wings and stuff like that."
I think it's what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. could have been and wasn't. And it's like that thing of doing a TV show on like a smaller scale and getting more people, like building out the world a bit.
Yeah, it's kind of why I like Vulture and his gang in Spider-Man, because I'm like, oh, those are just regular ass people who are having reactions to this like sudden shift in their world. So I think that briefing scene is really interesting because it also, in one, it kind of gives us like an inkling to like, you know, this. What is that dude's name again? I can't remember his name.
Wu? The one guy. Wu or the bad guy?
The bad guy.
Ward.
It is Ward. Okay.
We've had so many.
I think
in
it's
the Marvel.
we've already had two.
Arlen keeps calling her. It's Hayward.
Oh, it's Hayward.
Is it Hayward?
Yes.
Okay.
Ward.
Hey Ward.
It's really hard to keep all these honkies separate. You know.
Just,
all white people look alike.
Before we get too far away from it, I just wanted to bring up something with the idea of what you were talking about earlier, Connor, with Ultron being cold and machine-like and Vision being like this optimistic whatever thing that seems to actually have a soul. You also have to look at the way they were born. Like, if I remember correctly, Ultron was basically fed the internet and got to see every terrible thing that happened. So he's being given wire mommy, while Vision was birthed essentially and given the ability to actually see the good in humanity beforehand. So he was given soft mommy. So I think it's a bit of a misnomer to say that Ultron doesn't have a soul. It's just that his was basically corrupted and twisted from the word go, while Vision was actually given an option from the beginning.
It's like a weird.
He was kicked off AWS.
Exactly.
It's like a weird version of Original Sin. Like Ultron is born and immediately exposed to like the worst garbage you expose an infant to, and Vision is birthed through the power of Thor, because Thor essentially wakes him up. He's given pieces of Jarvis's personality. He's given pieces of Tony's personality, and since Jarvis is essentially programmed by Tony, he's getting these two like father figure inputs that have a lot of humanity being dumped into them. And then and then to add to that, like his first vision of humanity is like this big, you know, searing skyline. So I also like that addition to that idea too, is that Ultron is born is like, oh my god.
That, and Ultron was
what's wrong with you people?
He was exposed to Sonic Vor while he was being born, so that explains why he's the way he is.
It's like, have you
He
guys been
sees
to
Sonic Vor.
Have you guys been to Brentford? Like, why do you have this? Like,
how is Tails pregnant with Sonic's child? Sonic is a man, and so is Tails.
I see you've been traveling the same blogs I have.
Bronies? Why? Bronies?
Yeah, Ultron is evil because he saw DeviantArt.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
He's like that one bot that Microsoft made. What was it, Becca or something?
Oh God!
And within like
the
9
bot
days,
that
she
immediately turned into a Nazi. Just like
humanity should be destroyed.
Yeah.
That bot is actually cute.
So getting back to WandaVision. What else did you want to touch on about the show? I mean, we lost the. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say just to like name a couple things. Like, I feel like we have to talk about what they showed with Monica's X-rays and stuff. The twins.
And okay, so Monica's X-rays, which comes immediately before a comment about Captain Marvel, which prompts her to fucking scowl.
Well, I think that
she's angry.
Yeah, well, she's angry, but I think that's more connected because she doesn't really 100% know what was going on. Because she was gone.
I also think that I also think that it might have like, so her mom gets cancer. Her mom is best friends with Carol. What if Carol just never came home for that?
Well, in her mind, she was still. Carol doesn't come back until Endgame.
Not till
but the cancer happens before everyone gets dusted.
Yes.
Right. Well,
what if
in the 5 years, I think Carol went and visited adopted her, but she never came back before that. She never came
That's
back.
what I'm saying.
before-
She never
doesn't
came back to see
she
Monica.
she doesn't come back to see Monica in the worst of times, and
Yes.
that builds resentment. And let's say in between the 5 years, she goes to visit and goes to see her, and she's like, "Fuck off! Where have you been?"
Mhm.
Or
also, it's just-
the
yeah.
darkest timeline somehow, because Captain Marvel's powers are space based, and space has a lot of fucking radiation. That Captain Marvel inadvertently fucking gives her mom cancer.
See, I think that would only make sense if she died like right after Captain Marvel, but she died
Right.
like
it was
30 years later.
James and Mason from Mission Sunday movies were basically kicking around the idea of like, what if those two, being the friends they were doing some kind of experiment, and something goes wrong?
What, like
It's a little
sensory?
too Dr. Manhattan.
Again, I
What-
see,
I mean-
I see you been reading my literature.
I mean, here's the thing. It's a movie.
thing.
It's a
Okay,
movie
wait.
where they suggest
Eric's audio dropped out, so all I had to go off of was the reactions, and then I put it together.
Yes. Well, it's really fascinating. You watch Captain Marvel, it's like, oh, so two women in the Air Force living together for multiple years, and they were just friends that whole time.
Here's the thing.
Huh?
Just like in Metal Gear Solid 5, where the sexual tension between Kaz and Snake is so thick you can't see through it, those two in Captain Marvel are fucking. I don't care what Disney says, and it's fine. Just fucking embrace it already. Like, they're totally lesbians. Just fucking go with it.
Oh, they're gonna double down. Like, fucking Valkyrie's gonna have like a harem at some point.
Hell yeah.
Like, just
I think they are waiting for like the soul of fucking Ike to just leave this world. They're like, he's gone forever. We can finally do it.
Well, unfortunately, Ike and Vince are like the twin souls, like in Rise of Skywalker. So, unfortunately, they're connected forever, and until one dies, the other can't.
Wait, do we have to go around destroying all of Ike's fucking Horcruxes?
Yes. Yes.
Are they
One of
just
them-
action figures of Black Widow?
No,
God
they're
damn it.
Subway sandwich.
Well, most of them are, and one of them is a box of new
Black-
pencils.
and one is T'Challa.
Jesus Christ. But with Monica's test results, like, I love the fact that they didn't outright say it, but they might be hinting at her actually becoming Photon, like her nickname.
Yeah, well, and even in is it episode 3, they show that that's her mom's call sign was Photon.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Which
I
in the
thought that
comics
was-
is interesting. She
well,
is
that's a callback, yeah. But
yeah, because her like Monica is like one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel universe, I believe.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because she's like light based, like she absorbs light and can move at the speed of light, and is basically just like a powerhouse monster.
And let's also add the fact that like they show her X-rays as being completely unreadable, but then when the tech is like, "Hey, your X-rays are fucked. Like, we gotta do them again." She's like, "Yeah, no."
And
like,
her blood
let's
work
get
too.
let's get blood. She's like, "Yeah, double no," and then just puts her clothes on and walks out. Like,
Nah,
I'm like,
I don't wanna.
like you know,
I mean,
you know what's up, don't you?
maybe something that I think it was Lou or Eric that said it. That could be her X gene activating, because of Wanda.
Or it could be. I never said any bullshit like that. That's madness.
Somebody said X gene, and somebody
I think that
was
was
against
Hunter.
it.
Try to slander.
No, the other thing it could be to tie back into the idea that maybe, let's say, Carol did give Monica's mom cancer. It could be a side effect that she also gained these abilities because of Carol, which could be an interesting, like,
Oh,
oh no, double-edged sword type of thing, where it's like,
can I read you what it says where her powers come from in the comic?
go for it.
Yeah.
Due to bombardment by extra-dimensional energies,
Mm-hmm.
Rambeau can transform herself into any form of energy on the electromagnetic spectrum.
Oh, so
Cosmic
she's
gamma,
God. She's God,
cosmic
is what you're telling me.
gamma, X-ray, ultraviolet, visible light, electricity, infrared, microwaves, radio waves, neutrinos.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
maybe when she got blasted out of the TV world, that was her getting bombarded with extra-dimensional energy.
Could be.
Sure.
Could be.
It could be.
Or
I mean,
Also,
Or
let's
X
also like
genes.
let's well also
it
let's
could be a lot of things.
what the nature of Westview, like, because from the outside, it is and I will say this, and Luke can agree with me, a painfully accurate Jersey suburb. Okay, I saw that shit.
That's
I saw that shit. I was like, they're like Westview, New Jersey. I was like,
and it's super North Jersey. Like,
yeah, I'm like big city. I mean, I'm like small town, middle of big nothing, surrounded by pines. Yeah, definitely from fucking New Jersey.
yeah.
But since when you go into it, it is a completely different landscape. Like, and you don't really know exactly how the terrain is laid out. Like, is this a pocket dimension?
Well, that's what they're kind of showing, but like all those people exist
back to
in
Hunter.
our universe.
Yeah, and back to Hunter's point, like, and what Lou was saying, extra dimensional energy. Like, if she is then thrown out of a pocket dimension back into what is essentially our reality, does that count as being bombarded by extra dimensional energy? Because that would be, I mean, there it is. Like,
Sure. I mean, it could be a confluence of things. I don't remember Captain Marvel that well, but I don't think Carol was the only one who was who was super close to the Tesseract over the entire time that they were working with it.
Well, she got her powers from the ship exploding on her, basically.
Yes, but they were all around the Tesseract because they were all part of the same flight test, right? Am I misremembering that? I remember that they were all part of the same program.
By herself.
She wasn't part of Pegasus because I cannot, for the life of me, remember if that was just Carol who was supposed to be doing tests or not, or if she just knew about it. I can't be sure.
I thought that did they steal the plane?
No.
Yeah.
Carol was flying Marvel out in it because she wanted to go out in it for whatever reason. So that's what I remember, at least. It's been a little while since I've watched that movie.
Yeah.
Same here because
Brie
Larson hates me, so I can't watch
it.
Right,
exactly. Yeah, I mean, it could be that Carol was touching the Tesseract unbeknownst, and she went down on that night and didn't.
It could be.
Going back to the first part of that sentence, I'm imagining like she's just in a room and it's on a table and she's like just boingy, 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 and just poking it like with her finger.
I mean,
what is this thing?
You know? Yeah, you don't want to grip it though, because
he's like, "Oh my god, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about Monica and like the nature of Westview. I do like that around Westview is like this weird kind of like white noise TV static filter. And like the idea of like Darcy being like, I need an old TV, really old, not flat.
I mean, yeah, to go
she is such an addition,
and then to add like an actual, I mean, it's movie sci-fi nonsense, but like it's some sci-fi bill babble. It's like, yeah, it's sending out a broadcast, but I could only make it work on this piece of shit old TV. Also, by the way, she's doing a sitcom, and then it's like, okay, you've explained away this ridiculous premise flawlessly.
When
there's a lot of stuff to appreciate about this.
I love when they're like, oh, blah blah blah, cast as, and it's like they're just using that terminology. Like, I loved so much.
Oh yeah, and with Agnes, so there's two people in the town that did not get a real world identity on that board. I can't remember who the other one is, but one of them is Agnes. They have no idea.
It's Dottie, isn't it?
It's Dottie.
It's Dottie.
Yes.
Does not.
And we've never seen her husband, Agnes's husband. She just talks about him.
No, isn't her husband? No, her husband is the guy next door who cuts into the bricks.
Hub?
No,
I thought it was Big Mustache Guy.
No, it was not him either.
He's not real, so.
Which, by the way, my favorite comedy moment in this fucking thing was that weird cut gag where she's like, "Do my earrings make me look fat?" And then the power goes out, and he's like, "Oh, thank God."
The mustache guy is
I
married
like that the
to...
jokes got better as the show went on. Like
Kitty Pryde? Kitty from that 70s show?
No.
God damn it.
No. The guy with the mustache, yeah, he's
married to Dottie.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's who was asking about the earrings. No, Agnes is the only one who doesn't really have anything that we know anything about at this point. Like, honestly, I think Dottie was just in there to be like that blonde bitch. That's all she was in there for.
It's like when she cuts her hand, it bleeds red. And then
Okay,
that,
let's talk about the colors because, like, the first 2 episodes are, yeah, they're slow, but I think the first 2 or 3 episodes, whenever Wanda sees something that isn't reflective of this like new reality, um, she not just like it's not just denial. It is such powerful rejection that she's willing to alter everything around her to make that one thing now completely insignificant. I think that's fucking awesome. I think it's a really good it's great character insight. That's kind of why I love this fucking show right now, is because Marvel hasn't really had the chance to laser focus on one character or 2 characters this much ever, because all their movies are, one shot, one shot, one shot, one shot. And this is a very slow burn TV show that's letting us into her head in ways we haven't seen with these characters yet. And I think it's rad.
Yeah.
Well,
like-
I was just gonna say they established with the newest episode that it's not that Wanda can't deal with it; it's that it reflects the time period, or at least the area that she's in at that time. So that's why they send in a drone that's like 80s esque, I guess. I don't think it was.
And it's from the 80s, yeah.
And same thing with Monica's clothing. Like, she was wearing Kevlar when she went in, but then her clothing got turned into the clothing she was wearing. So
and that's also adds like the idea that, like, if something comes in if something happening that's not like cohesive with what she wants, she makes everything adapt to it. Like, it's not just she doesn't get rid of one thing.
Transmutated.
She overcorrects everything to make that one bothering, element insignificant.
Well, not really though, because I mean, if you think about what Monica was wearing when she was in that world, it fit in with the time period that Wanda was trying to make it evocative of.
That's the environment. I'm talking about Wanda's like emotional state. Whereas, where what she sees as intrusive, she then overcorrects the entire fucking simulation or reality or pocket dimension to make that thing trivial. She makes these things that trigger traumatic experiences or make her feel like something's wrong, and she just fucking she pours cement over it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say.
It's a representation of what's going on in her mind.
Yeah, it is like palpable grief, because like that who can't relate to the idea of like, I am so sad nothing can fix this, and then when something comes along to make you feel worse, you cover it with more shit. You go out and you spend more money, you get a ridiculous meal, you overindulge, and Wanda is really overindulging at this point. It's the point where she's willing to get into an argument with Vision and fucking draw on it essentially, which is also my favorite scene from this whole fucking episode.
Oh, and I think of what
we haven't seen Vision do much, outside of be really funny. But then, like, when he starts showing autonomy, and then he starts screaming at her, I'm like, wow, this fucking show just stepped up in like 3 seconds. And then when he's yelling at her about like, you don't get to make that choice for me, like, I think that's hurtful to Wanda. 2, it's just really it's cool to see Vision stepping, like, having this emotional range, because I don't think we've seen him get like super angry yet in the movies.
No, not really. He doesn't. I like what they're doing. I like the fact that they've taken 2 characters that I think somebody added it up. Altogether, they have like an hour of screen time or something crazy in the previous movies that they were in. At least like speaking time. They're on camera just staring at things and giving expressions a lot. They have so much time to like be characters and to ingratiate themselves in this show, and I really am enjoying that quite a bit. That we're getting a sense of who they are as characters, because something that occurred to me is I don't know what this version of Wanda is like. The most character development we got for her is still back in Age of Ultron, and she's changed so much as a character that I still don't know who she is. Yeah, I'm more informed by who she is in, I don't know if it is the most recent run, but the Scarlet Witch run.
The James Robinson one, most likely.
Yeah, that one where every book was a different artist. I'm more informed about who she is as a character from that run than anything I've seen on screen, because they just haven't had time to establish who she is as a character.
The character in the comics is like, she has like one of the most her and Quicksilver are like they have like the most convoluted backstory of all time.
Yep.
To this point,
I know it's a lot of retconning and changing
they're
their
not
minds
mutants anymore, and like They're not Magneto's kids.
Yep.
I didn't even know that happened.
Yes, well, that's when they didn't have the rights. So they're not Magneto's kids. They're not mutants, and their birth parents were actually the Maximoffs. The Maximoffs gave them to the High Evolutionary. The Cow Lady swapped them back and said, like, "Oh, these are different kids," and gave them back to them.
That is,
but they were their actual kids.
Why?
Because Marvel wanted to do stupid stuff with the Cow Lady.
So outside of what could be a potential like guaranteed Doctor Strange cameo. I have a like if it doesn't happen, I won't be too upset. But because of how they've interacted, I would kind of like to see a Clint appearance because he has been there for very significant developments with Wanda when she gets them in the movies.
I wouldn't be surprised because they're doing that show.
I mean, he names his fucking kid after her brother. He is there to usher her in as an Avenger. He's basically there, kind of, going tit for tat with her and Quicksilver the whole movie. In Civil War, he's the one who comes to get her out of the Avengers facility. Like he risks a lot to come get Wanda. And then in Endgame, he is the one to come console her about Vision.
It's a good point. Yeah.
Yes, I would love to see him show up and in Wanda's current state have him be kind of horrified. Because he's seen her at her best, and now he's seeing her at her absolute worst.
The thing is, though, I could see that happening before Jeremy Rennered it up, like before everything.
He's still getting his Hawkeye show, so I don't think it really did anything to him.
Right, but
I think that's going to be
that's a send off. That is
he's not a cannibal.
True. That is true.
Lou. We're not going into this. He's not a cannibal. He wants you to think he's a cannibal. Okay, that's it. That's all. That's not doing it.
Can we talk about the twins and why there are no other children and what that could mean?
It's a weird thing to bring up, and it's gonna come into place.
Yeah, it can't. That is not a throwaway line.
Yeah, like that has to play in some way. That has to be
the more I thought about that, like I don't think it's as horrifying as we talked about in the chat. I think it might
you guys are trying to Cronenberg it the fuck up in the
chat. It doesn't need to be Cronenberg.
Wanda put every kid in that town into an industrial press, and then just kind of
I would love that so fucking much, but they're not going to do that.
I think she maybe like. I think she took these people. Well, because Norm says, like, I have a family and she's keeping me from contacting them. Like, I imagine these people have kids, but because Wanda, wants kids, she makes it so nobody else has them. That way, her kids can be,
extra special.
The kids, they are the boys. Also, let's talk about the mailman for 2 seconds because he had a line. I was like, what do you know? Because
he's the other person that hasn't he hasn't been cast yet either.
He hasn't been cast, and he also when Wanda's looking for the dog, he's like, "Oh, you lost the dog? Don't worry, your mom will find her. She can do anything." They just walked away.
Well, I don't know. I think that was, mind you, I think it definitely did possibly mean a little bit more, but I think it was also just a throwaway 80s thing.
So I just. You know what's interesting is like, did anyone else see the Grim Reaper skull?
Yes.
The Reaper.
Yeah, a lot of people saw that.
Yeah. So.
Oh no, I did not.
Whoa, wait.
I think that was a reference, but yeah.
In the animated intro to episode 2, there's one point where it's coming down through the house, and you can see the floorboards and bones of the house and whatnot, and the Grim Reaper's mask, the Marvel character Grim Reaper.
Eric Williams.
Yes.
Oh, I see. I have the image now. I'll put it in the chat.
Who is the brother of Wonder Man? His brother was Wonder Man, and Wonder Man used some of his brain waves to make Vision in the comics. So I think that was just a reference, just like a hey, elbow.
Well,
so I will say the commercials are getting very interesting because we talked about that one with the toaster, and we talked about the Hydra one. And now, like, they're getting less and less obtuse because now they're like, Lagos, paper towels. Like, 5 minutes after
Yeah,
that guy's like,
Lagos.
she killed people in Lagos.
The Lagos one is like, oh, I wonder what that's about. Red food just slipping down a table. It's like, okay, well, they really spelled that one out.
I do want to say with the twins though, it's like it is
The blood of the
interesting,
innocent.
like based on the casting of all these other shows, that like they're bringing up these characters who are very heavily tied into the Young Avengers.
Yeah.
Are
Right.
these kids?
Yeah.
And from episode 1, they
that's a
were
good point,
pushing.
yeah.
There was like the characters were like, "Oh, when are you guys gonna have kids? When are you guys gonna have kids?"
I mean, I want to circle back around to the kids thing because I did have a thing to say about that. So if we assume that there is some other entity that is part of this, it could be an entity that is feeding on the children, and that's why we're not seeing the children. It could be anything. It could be, there might be multiple people who have disappeared from this town that we don't know about, and they're just gone, and something is behind that. We don't really know. They're keeping it very vague. I think that could be why there's no dogs. Again, the children are just gone. I do think that there is something taking advantage of what Wanda is doing, especially as the season has gone on, and there are more of these weird little things and weird little details that they throw out, like the no kids thing. But I think that there is some deviousness going on, some sort of not an exact one for one, but a Pennywise like force that is part of this. Something that is much more malevolent than Wanda, that is taking advantage of the confusion.
And it's Master
Oh
Pandemonium.
my god, what the fuck is this picture?
Oh, those are Wanda's children on his arms there. That's Master
Oh,
Pandemonium.
I absolutely hate it. I hate it, and
I
then it
forgot
works
about
in
that.
every way. I really like the idea of bringing in something that is like doing something really, really heinous because of all these red herrings we've already talked about. Like, they keep, like, there are lines in the show, like, Monica comes out and she's like, "It's Wanda, it's all Wanda," and then Hayward's like, terrorist. She's gonna terrorist it up. And other people kind of be like, calm down, dude. But the narrative of the show keeps saying, like, oh, the fucking Wanda's the bad guy. Look, she made the fucking thing turn red. She made everybody point their guns at that guy. By the way, he deserved it.
Well, I don't know why, but like,
because tell me I'm wrong. He shot a missile at her, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, he tried to.
Yeah,
So,
fuck that guy.
You just put a thing in my head, like, what in Marvel, what group is associated that would be associated with Sword, Captain Marvel, mutant characters that affects people's minds and would want to
Sentinels. I'm kidding.
that would want to kidnap them and also like does stuff to them to make them act weird.
Yes,
Dr. Bong.
Mr. Sinister.
Well, Sinister would do that, but this isn't what that Sword would be involved with.
Sinister would just be obsessed with Scott and Jean.
Yeah, and Extreme.
I'll give you another hint. They can't get sued for using them anymore because they also own Fox now, and some of the things that were used to rip
Skrulls?
off.
I don't know. Stop playing 20 questions.
Skrulls.
Who is it?
What if it's the Brood?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Nah.
Like,
Nah,
Brood would be real interesting. They can't get sued for the likenesses to xenomorphs anymore.
that would be something that I think they would deal with in the cosmic before they would bring it down to TV level. Like,
they started as X-Men villains.
I get that.
Them.
Yeah, that was the big issue.
I think
Kitty
Eric's
Pryde.
point is like that's way too like into sci-fi horror that I think they don't want to get into yet.
Yeah.
Also,
this seems a little too complex just for like the
Yeah.
word.
Also, how does everyone feel about their AIM theories from a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I'm bummed.
Yeah, they really dismantled that.
Man, we were like fucking beekeepers AIM, and nothing will ever change my.
Hayward is giving off serious Hydra vibes, so he could be AIM or what's the other one? The organization.
I'm not sure.
There's a million of them.
Yeah.
Hydra, or do you mean like not AIM, one of the other acronyms?
Not
that's like
AIM. There's another one that is also closely associated with Roxxon. Roxxon, the perpetual dick
Well,
tease that is Roxxon.
Roxxon, I think, is connected to the Spider-Man universe.
Yeah, that's all
yeah.
Spider-Man.
Well,
that's
they were using it in Cloak and Dagger, and they were using it in Daredevil too.
Okay.
No,
okay.
Roxxon has been in every Marvel property. They've been in every single one.
But
they just haven't been consequential yet up until this point.
But
at all.
Roxxon was basically like directly behind how Cloak and Dagger get their powers in the show.
Okay.
And I think Roxxon was like
Jessica. Her powers come from Roxxon as well.
Yeah, and then in Daredevil,
and
Karen was investigating Roxxon during Daredevil season 1.
Okay,
interesting.
I'm just saying. Sorry, I'm just thinking of Ultimate Spider-Man because that was the last time I saw him Roxxon used in a large way in the comics.
Yeah, and you know what, I don't blame you because hang on, I don't blame you because in all those appearances we just listed, there's never actually like a face to represent any of this shit.
yeah.
It's just like, man, that faceless corporation is totally evil, and like there's a cutaway. It's just a fucking building. Like,
yeah. You have a better memory for this stuff than I do then, because I totally forgot Roxxon has been mentioned a few times. But where were we?
And Justin Hammer.
Oh God,
that's fucking Luke Cage season.
That's some Hammer Tech.
Hammer Tech, dude.
But yeah, I don't know. The kids, I still think are a manifestation of Wanda's powers, and I don't.
Well, that's what they always were.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if it's going to be a case where they become Speed and Wiccan.
I don't know about Speed, but like Wiccan is like a big character, and like it's the comics thing is weird, but like they tend to push stuff in the comics when they're gonna do stuff in the movies.
I mean, if they're gonna do Young Avengers, and that's pretty obvious that's what's gonna happen. Having them be able to age up is pretty convenient.
And they've been aging up. They even she references. She's like, no, you guys don't age up. Not this time. Which was interesting.
That is the one thing that they seem to have autonomy too. So it makes me wonder if it's something that she's created that's outside of her control now. So I don't know.
Because Wiccan is he is in the current actual comic book stuff. He is with Hulkling. They're married, and they're one of the most powerful space people now.
Well, yeah, because Hulkling is in charge of the Kree and the Skrull.
Yeah, he's Marvel's son with the Princess of the Skrull.
Yeah. I know, it's very fascinating, guys, isn't it?
Yes.
Great.
We're all just stoked on the Marvel lore that you're dropping on us.
No, keep it coming.
I'm just like, my loins.
Okay.
I do think we've covered a fuck ton about this show, though.
Did we?
And I think
no, it's been pretty scattershot because it's clearly we haven't done this in a very long time.
Yeah, well, also we're all. This has been the first show we've all watched that have all gotten us this excited about it. So
this is the first Marvel thing we've had in over a
this
year.
This is the first this is the first new thing to chew on. So yeah, no, I don't blame anybody in this show for how it's been.
When was the last Marvel movie? Was it 5 years ago? It feels like it was 5 years ago.
Well, in COVID time, I was 10 years old.
The other thing too is we know this only has 4 episodes left.
Yeah, it's total. 9 total.
No, it's 9 total. Yeah.
Yeah, so we know we're not oh God, we've still got 17 more episodes to go before the season fails us miserably
until Savitar comes back.
I can't believe they killed Shade in 2 minutes and then said, "Well, fuck that shit." Anyway, back to Savitar.
These next 3 episodes could be really good, and then the next 7 after that could be entirely trash.
See, Connor, that's why you have to watch Stargirl, because they actually are setting up Shade to be the big bad for season 2.
Doing that shit was like Russian roulette, but they only took out 1 bullet.
I'm not going to go on a rant, but I do distinctly remember all of us recovering from that episode and being like, "Who was the fucking villain they killed in the beginning?" And Alan was like, "Shade," and we're like, "Isn't that a big deal in DC?" He's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Wow, that show fucking shit all over that legacy character really fucking hard."
Remember
that
what,
was
which
before my time.
crossover did they have? Girl Cyborg villain?
Oh God!
Oh,
What?
Cyborg Lady? That was the
Lou?
first crossover. They
Stop
said
this! Stop this now!
Yeah.
Lou
hang on, wait.
buried a memory that has been deeply buried in my
No,
brain
no,
for a
I'm
very
not
long
listening.
time.
Yeah.
They dug out this Halloween costume that someone gave them of like, here, glue this
You're being
motherboard.
generous. It's not a Halloween costume. It's a costume 5-year-olds use for a school play. My God.
I have glued
Holy
motherboards
shit.
to my face. I am a robot.
Every moment we spend talking
yeah,
about this
Shade is-
makes me
he-
feel like I'm aging.
All right.
If you could see
do
my
we have
frown,
final-
it's digging into the foundations of my house.
Okay. Do we have any like final thoughts on WandaVision before we go to some news? Because there was some.
It's fucking phenomenal. It's
Good show.
It's good. Good.
It's everything
great.
I wanted and didn't know I wanted out of Marvel, because it's taken a strong left turn, and like Connor had said, and like everybody has mentioned, like it's doing stuff outside of what we've gotten used to with MCU, and it's an awesome thing, and it shows that, hey, Marvel movies aren't just the same thing with bad soundtracks like a lot of people complain about. It can be a lot of different
soundtracks
things.
thing isn't even true. That's not
Yeah.
the bad soundtracks thing.
I'm not.
Is wrong.
Well, I'm not even going into that idiocy.
I know. I
But
know.
it's doing things that everybody who's a comic fan didn't realize they could get away with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like we said, Legion vibes, like from the trailers, and it's not as heavy, but to do something like this, and oh fuck, god damn it, why did you even?
No, we're not doing this. We're not doing. But okay,
Anyway,
on the Legion thing, like,
it's. I'm so glad, like, because when Legion was done and over with, I'm like, I can't believe someone who isn't typically in that bubble of like he's never made a comic book property looked at this fucking obscure X-Men character that no one really talks about. He's not really in the big, cultural knowledge of X-Men, and made like a complete 3-arc series that is compelling from start to fucking finish while doing things that no one has done in this genre before.
Yeah.
So coming off that and going into this, like I can't believe we're getting it like again,
Mm-hmm.
where someone.
I'm glad it wasn't a one-off. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that
it wasn't
like I would love to think that Legion did open the door for this kind of show, because like I can't think that someone who makes decisions didn't look at Legion and go like, huh, like I think
it had I think here's the thing. We really, me, but all of us truly, we like to blow Kevin Feige a lot. Our Lord and Savior Kevin Feige.
When he does a bad thing, I will say something, but he hasn't yet.
He doesn't. He just makes like really good decisions. It's like, oh my God, Kevin, stop doing these great things that we absolutely love. It's like, can he make a mistake? I would like to see him make a mistake just once. Because here's the thing, there are plenty of people who'd be like, well, Marvel's made plenty of mistakes. And I can point at it and be like, no, that was an Ike Perlmutter mistake. That was somebody else's mistake. That was Avi Arad being in charge.
Yeah, that was a Jeff Loeb mistake, or that was a fucking Scott Buck mistake. Like the fuck up, even the fuck ups in the MCU are not Kevin's fault, because there was a point where Kevin was running one side and Ike was running the other, and Ike was making all these decisions for that side, and that side is where all the fucking fuck ups are.
Yeah.
It's even more complicated than that. We don't talk about it a lot anymore. There was a Marvel committee that featured Ike, Joe Quesada Jr., and a bunch of other comics people.
Brian Michael Bendis.
Yes. And they made some good suggestions sometimes. They also made some really bad suggestions sometimes.
Yeah.
And Yuki, moment after Kevin had to stop listening to them, and you see just the best movies. You see Thor Ragnarok, Civil War, Black Panther. Fucking Spider-Man of Marvel.
Yeah, Inhumans, and it's it's reprehensibly cheap. Like every time I see pictures or clips of it, I'm like, that is a fucking room with barely any furniture in it and a phone booth dressed up like a Terrigen transformer, like or whatever the fuck it's supposed to be. It looks cheaper than the worst TARDIS you've ever
that would
seen.
be the chamber for the Terrigen mist.
Well, it looks like a phone booth. Okay, Lou can back me up. Like that show, and that show and Iron Fist are so fucking bad. There should not be a reason why Marvel is still as strong as it is, because those shows are terrible. But because Kevin Feige is such a good fucking producer and everything else surrounding it was so consistently good, nobody gave a shit.
Yeah,
I actually feel like you're being mean to Iron Fist by comparing them, because at least Iron Fist has a like it looks good.
I kind of I agree with they're made by the same guy. Iron Fist is as bad as
it looks good. Inhumans looks horrendous.
Yes,
Humans look horrendous, and like everything I hear about the rest of the show after the first 2 episodes is like some of the
I watched it.
Objectively worst things I've ever heard.
Did.
We know, Lou. We know that you watched.
You weren't interested in seeing like brain damaged Karnak being trapped in a weed farm?
Wait.
I'm so angry. I'm so angry right now.
How much dubstep was in that episode?
Here's the thing, and like everyone loses their powers immediately, and then like who has the goat feet?
Gorgon.
Yeah.
Okay, so he gets to Earth and suddenly just has no goat feet. Like they just get rid of them.
That's hilarious.
No, his goat feet are inside boots. What don't you get? But what you missed is that they actually killed him in season 1, but then they brought him back.
I'm right back.
And we wonder why they decided to do the Eternals, because somebody just dripped shit all over Inhumans so that they couldn't do Inhumans.
I was pissed because like I don't know Humans, but I fucking love Black Bolt, because the moment I was introduced to that character, I think it was in it was in
the Hickman run, most likely.
Probably in the Hickman run, and then like I kept seeing him pop up elsewhere. I'm like, dude, this guy's fucking awesome, because he's he is a badass king who sits in a throne and just like makes decisions without saying a fucking word, and then floors one of the strongest characters in the universe by just saying no.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Like he's just immediately interesting. And I also found out his name recently. His full name is like Black Boltagon, or like
it's Blackagon.
Blackagon Boltagon or something like that, which is the fucking funniest thing I've ever heard.
God fucking damn it.
Well, not just that. Like Medusa is awesome in the comics because, like,
oh my! Why do you have to subject us to this, Lou? Why do you have to show us these images? Okay.
His name is Blackagar Boltagon.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, okay.
Like
TV is in a good place right now. I think that's a good place.
And I think it's relevant also. Like the next phase they chose to do for their stuff was TV, and like the only 2 notable failures they have are from fucking TV. So I think
they've been kind of forced to go to TV, but yes,
exactly. But it's nice to see them like maybe not consciously, but maybe subconsciously, like kind of like our notable fuck ups are here. We can just pour new foundation over this with brand new great quality material, and no one will ever have to talk about these things ever again except us.
Yeah.
Well, because their only film fuck up they fixed by getting a very different creative voice involved that saved that series.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's Thor.
I think Kevin Feige's strengths come from the fact that like he doesn't accept failure in the sense that like, okay, well this didn't work, well then we won't do that ever fucking again, and we will go in a different direction. But he doesn't quit. He doesn't drop things that are not working. He adapts them and he makes them. He puts them through a fucking filter to make them come out new and refreshing.
But he doesn't do the studio thing of I'm gonna put my hands over my ears and never listen to what anybody ever says, and I'm gonna just ignore an entire concept. I'm not gonna even like consider the idea that there's good things in things that were done before. He doesn't do that. He takes the lessons that you should from things, and he takes the right lessons every single time. That's the difference between him and a lot of other producers and executives.
Yeah.
He takes the right lessons and only the right lessons.
He's also 90 feet tall and unstoppable at this point, so no one can tell him no.
Yep. It's like when I saw walks into, he just like puts his hand down, and is like, "How dare you interrupt Feige time?" But Feige time. Would you say like one of the most like experienced producers currently working?
Yeah, in superhero,
Yeah,
he was doing superhero movies for 10 years before he ran Marvel.
Exactly, like he got to do an extra, like a paid internship on the genre that he would go to like master.
Yeah,
you got to see all the bad things.
Yeah.
I can't believe that nobody else looks at that structure and goes like, "Man, what do you want of those guys?" DC's like, "Let's get 12 of that guy." But
we're going to
fire them all before they can make any difference.
And skip steps 1 through 12.
Let's just not have a plan. Oh, let's have a plan, and then just shove that plan into a garbage shredder and light it on fire.
Wait,
I've been fired. The new plan.
We fired that guy, and everybody hates the new thing we did. Well, let's get that guy $150 million for a 4-hour of that movie.
Yep.
Let's make a bad movie longer.
Dude, that just keep throwing money at things that nobody wants.
I gave him $20 million. Suck my dick.
Okay, but Connor, you understand that money could have gone towards 15 Shazam sequels that we would all fucking.
I don't care.
And are we only getting like 15 extra minutes of shot footage? Is all they?
No, we're getting 4 extra minutes because
4 extra.
Oh, I'm sorry, only 4 new minutes.
I just love the idea of an exec going, you know what? Make it longer.
Make it longer and make it more like make it less saturated.
Where's Jared Leto? Get him back in the desert. Put him in Joker.
Right.
We found all these buckets of sepia tone. Here you go, Zach. I don't know, anybody. Well, Lou, Hunter, what do you guys think about what's going on with the show? Are you happy with where it's going? Are you happy with what it's doing?
I like it. I like it in that it's like I think this is a really good idea for like Marvel going forward is these shows, and I think this is a good proof of concept that they can do it. I'm just really excited for more.
I will say before. Sorry, Lou, to interrupt before you can say anything. I worry that once again, like this is going to be lightning in a bottle because all of the shows that are coming out are established characters that we spent the last 10 years getting to know and enjoy their time on screen. And I don't know if Marvel's going to be able to do the same thing with this next phase of their films, whatever it leads into, and be able to have this same momentum that they can be like, all right, we had all these movies that did really well. Now let's have all these TV shows that we're also going to put you on.
Like we've well established, Eric, I don't give a fuck. Like,
good point.
They can be bad, and I'll still watch them at this point.
Good point. Fair enough. Lou,
I'll say like it's pretty good. I've enjoyed it. I've been checking it out. I think one of the hosts though is like a real issue and probably needs to be canceled, from what I've been told.
What are you talking about?
I was talking about Movie Dumpster.
God damn it!
I can't believe this is the way all these shows. Like, for one, I explained how many people are involved in Phantom Zone, either directly or indirectly, and Sean and Joe had no idea there was that many. They were like, "What do you mean Leo was on a podcast just trashing you?" Like, Sean was like, "How many people are running fucking Phantom Zone?"
Don't worry about it.
I was like, "We are Legion. Shut up."
We're filled with phantoms.
I wanted to add,
we're
like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, for a while, Marvel was pretty much doing one thing. That was like, superhero movies, fucking big laser in the sky, big fight sequences, and now like they have proven they can take these characters and concepts and just drop them into a different setup altogether and just have the same level of success. Like they're at this point, they're the most untouchable studio on the fucking planet. They're out Star Wars.
They're literally they're looking at the things that people like to trash them for, and they're literally laser focusing on those things and being like, yeah, you think that that's what we do? They're literally like, oh, You're wrong. We're gonna show you how wrong you are. You think that
9 episodes.
Artistically interesting? 9 episodes of the most artistically interesting TV you've maybe ever seen. Period.
You don't like
It's
that we're
just
having
like-
more minority and women heroes? Well, let's do like 2 Black Iron Mans. We're going to do a
Yes.
Wakanda TV show. Let's do female Thor. I wouldn't be surprised if we get like a Valkyrie thing. Like,
Oh yeah.
Mhm. Let's make the Skrulls good guys because fuck you. Because fuck you. We can do it.
You know what's funny about that is like, remember that first photo that came out of them coming out of the ocean? Everyone's like, "Wow, this is gonna be shit," and then the Skrulls are the best part of that fucking movie.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that like, so we talked before about how, you know, kind of elated we are that this show is laser focusing on these 2 characters, and like, we're not even done with this experience yet because after this, we're gonna get to explore Falcon and Winter Soldier, and like, I can't wait to get inside Bucky's head. Like, I really can't. Like, taking the superfan out of me, that character begs for exploration because there's so much we don't know about what happened to him. We don't know what his frame of mind is half the time because he kind of just comes and goes. And then for like 2 movies, he's like, in one movie he's a zombie, in the second movie he's half a zombie. Then with Falcon, like, we do get insights to his personality, but it's always to bounce off of Cap. So now to bounce off someone who isn't really his friend, I can't wait for that.
In both of those cases, what we know about those characters is how they are in reference to Cap. We don't really get a sense of them as individuals, and that's something I like. And we talked about this on a new show. They made a buddy cop show. It's
from one scene in one movie.
Yep.
Yeah, like it's crazy. I can't wait for it. But so this is the thing. I'm more excited about these shows now than I am about the movie. Just straight up. And TV is kind of my other love outside of movies, and I think I have more of a deeper appreciation for good TV or bad TV as well. So yeah, of course I'm more excited for these shows because it's more time with these characters. It's more time to do things that are weird and interesting. And again, this is a sign to me that Kevin Feige is fully in line with the idea of, let's do weird shit. Let's not just make everything exactly the same. And again, like I said, addressing the critics head on and like just going at their problems with the MCU at large and being like, you're wrong, and we're gonna show you how wrong you are over and over again until you change your mind.
If you come at the Feige with a sky laser, I will step on you.
I think it also shows that Feige has a long-term view on all of this, and it's not just let's see how this movie does. Let's see how this movie does. It's like, all right,
they're not doing let's wait and see what the box office says. They're not saying let's wait for the ratings is saying. Like, they're not waiting on some kind of like, you know, draconian, you know, barometer or some number system that is, you know, it's kind of got its own set of problems to begin with. They're doing things based on ambition and commitment to a planned out universe. Like, it is a fucking narrative, and they're like, no, we're not deviating from this idea.
Yeah.
Whereas,
so
like, I don't see why people aren't in the industry. Like, I can't fathom why, like, what should be their biggest competitor has tripped up almost every fucking step of the way because they don't look at what they did right and acknowledge it. They just look at it and go, we can do this shit. And they just fuck off. Star Wars, I think, has the same problem because they put someone at the head of the movies who has like what seems to be an antagonistic perspective towards the people who like those movies and made 3 movies that are so tonally inconsistent with each other.
To be fair, she's right.
And then I mean, but fuck those movies. And then you have the fucking Dark fail before it even started.
I mean, we've talked about this before. I think the larger problem with Star Wars was we have to make all that money and we have to make it as soon as possible. Let's make good movies. That was a big problem that they ran into.
You look at the state of cinematic universes in Hollywood right now. There are only three since the inception of like what the MCU became that have either survived or lasted long enough to be considered something. and that is the Conjuring universe. And fucking the Godzilla series.
No, you're missing one.
Oh, what?
Fast and Furious.
Are we calling that a cinematic universe now?
I'm calling.
They only have one spin-off.
Here's the thing. The reason I say it's a universe is because some of those movies feel like spin-offs, even though they're in the same franchise.
They also just feel like they went from heist movies to just they're superhero movies. Like they're
totally superhero.
They are
movies.
G.I. Joe movies, as far as I'm concerned.
You're right about The Conjuring. Like that's the other big. That's the other universe that's kind of doing a good job of doing that
against all odds, because like in almost the direct opposite of how Marvel's been just like critical slam after critical slam to critical slam, The Conjuring is like, man, those Conjuring movies are great, and everything else around it is trash.
Like the majority of it is like, why?
Speaking of cinematic universes,
why did I drag my stepfather to see The Nun in IMAX?
Yeah,
why did I do this?
Why was The Nun in IMAX?
I gotta go see this.
Why was The Nun in IMAX?
Alan, I heard there was some Pescetti in this movie. Is that true?
Does The Nun know her place and go back to the kitchen and make me some spaghetti?
All right, we're at 2 hours.
Okay.
Do we want to go into news now?
Hold on. Before
Hunter has something to say.
Before speaking of cinematic universes, did you see the fucking Dark Universe got unverified on Twitter? I was laughing so hard earlier today.
Talk about like it's been dead for like it is a rotting corpse, and someone walks up and just puts 2 in the back of its head for no reason. Like
it's not even a rotting corpse.
Not to deflate the joke, but they probably changed the account name, not to ruin it.
That's the thing.
Okay. That makes it even better because it.
Twitter unfollowed them.
I just saw this joke from Siler, by the way, and it's fucking fantastic. But that is really fucking funny. But that project will tickle me to death because they're like, we took a group photo. We're a cinematic universe.
I love
take us seriously.
Everything else is dead, right?
Leaning on a cane that doesn't exist.
And then
leaning on a cane that isn't there.
I'm leaning this counter.
Bring me
First,
as much
build
joy.
me a counter. My favorite thing about that is like the franchise room from The Mummy. When Tom Cruise walks in, someone's like, "Oh, pay no attention to the creature from the Black Lagoon's hand, Dracula's fangs, and also other things from these movies that haven't been made yet."
Oh, what they basically did is it Amazing Spider-Man where they did that at the end?
Oh, where the Sinister Six would be assigned their villainous personas by a series of backpacks.
Yes,
but it was worse. It was worse in The Mummy, a movie I fucking despise, a movie that is fucking trash. Okay, do we want to talk about the news that happened?
I have a headache.
Yeah, I think
or do we want
to
wrap it up?
It's almost 2 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah, us East Coasters.
Right.
Yeah, sorry.
We'll do a new show soon, so you'll get to hear about all this then.
You get to hear about WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or SpawnDivision.
God damn it.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
I was not ready for that to come back the way it did.
God damn it.
I've been Connor McGraw. Movie Dumpster is formally back. We're covering some movies with notable African American actors and kind of diving into the black exploitation genre for February. We just released Petey Wheatstraw, Stepson of the Devil. That movie is fan-fucking-tastic. Coffee is coming up next with Pam Grier. And after that, we are doing Blackula, which is also unexpectedly great, I have to say. Like, that was a real shock. Blackula's a legit horror film that I was shocked by.
Yeah, that movie's dope.
It's
I love that
really
movie.
fucking good and treats itself super seriously when it needs to, but also maintains this quiet level of ridiculousness that makes it really charming. Also, some point at the end of the movie, Blackula just picks up a barrel on a railing over a security guard, and in the same camera shot, just hurls it at him and murders him like Donkey Kong. It's so fucking funny. And then we have Talks from the Dark Side coming out. We're going to be covering every episode of Tales from the Dark Side. So now we've officially got our own Smallville Chronicles. That's gonna happen.
You're gonna not be very excited about some of those episodes.
We watched the first one was Trick or Treat, and like, here's the thing,
Mm-hmm.
like, this is Joe's shit, and I get it, but yeah, I can see that happening.
Oh no, the first episode's good. I'm talking about
yeah,
later
Trick or
in
Treat
the
is so good.
seasons.
Yeah. We've also got one more book to the movie coming out. We talk about Razorback the book, and Razorback the book sounds like it fucking sucks. Okay. So yeah, February is gonna be packed with a whole bunch of shit. We were really busy during January getting all that stuff together, and then we are recording everything for the next month, this month. So yeah, get ready for that. We're doing Leprechaun 4 first week of fucking March, and I can't.
Is that
I don't know how. Yes, and like, I sometimes when stuff like this pops up, I wonder to myself how I've been bamboozled into watching so many fucking movies with tiny, stupid, silly monster antagonists, because I hate them.
I'm curious how this happens as well, because
It's like they know.
And you haven't even watched Puppet Master yet.
Yeah.
I don't think I will say Demonic Toys was the most fun I've had with this insipid genre of like, this thing is 2 feet tall and has killed 17 able-bodied adults.
You gotta get deeper into toy exploitation.
Yeah, you gotta get deeper in that full moon ovoir.
Exploitation. God damn it!
Why?
All right. There's okay.
2 a.m.
Erik, if Joe had his way, we would also be doing just a full moon spin-off show, okay? Like,
Well,
and I would be forced to watch Killer Bong, okay, or like, Ginger Dead Man.
Well,
You're assuming that Joe doesn't do that already. He just hasn't released the episodes yet.
He just hosts shows by himself in his basement that he just plays to himself later on, probably.
Yeah.
Wait, that show exists. I host it every day.
God. Arlen, you got any plugs for us?
Yeah, this is gonna be the most fitting plugs for this show. Me and Erik Sayor are doing a month of female directors for Lost Arrow podcast, and our first entry is the films of Agnes Varda, a name that I'm sure you're all very familiar with, and that you're all big fans of her films.
Who the fuck is that?
My
Listen, she better not. All I'm saying is she better not go to space. I swear to God.
or try and fight a great Jagras.
Perfection.
If she picks up a lightsaber, I'm going to storm the Capitol.
Whoa, careful. We're on watch list now. Thanks.
Oh my God. That was really good. So go listen to that episode, probably the same day that this episode comes out, assuming people get back to me with notes about the episode art, and don't take an entire day to come back with any sort of response whatsoever.
Why would I ever do that?
What are you talking about? Never happened.
That's never happened. That's never happened.
I'm never doing a 10-hour shift and have limited windows to look at my phone while you're doing this.
I'm not even talking about you. I'm talking about everybody else.
She's talking about me. Anyways,
that's it.
Hunter?
Well, I was recently on the VGU podcast.
YUNG_KAME on Instagram.
You motherfucker. So I was on the Players Club podcast recently, and that was a lot of fun with Emmett.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked about the tall lady in our RE village and how I want her to step on me.
The first real female villain in all of Resident Evil.
Well, she is leading the all female cast.
Yeah.
So
but she's not going to space though.
She can't go to space. She can't go to space because she's so tall. That's why it's good.
Yeah.
And that's it, really. No other plugs.
Well, she can just kind of get in her tiptoes, and she's already there. So.
Yeah, true. Wait, no, that means she's bad. Never mind.
Because she can go to space, that makes her a terrible character.
Yes, because women can't go to space.
Or fight great
according to some goblins on the internet.
I love the implication of women not being able to fight fictional monsters.
I love the idea that reference is so impenetrable to most people because like if you drop Monster Hunter in front, they go, is that anime in the 90s?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm Erik Fedorchak. You can find me at Erik_Feeder on Instagram. There's pictures of dogs and cats and foods and comics. I'm also floating around the Phantom Zone at times, and I'm floating around other places talking about other things. Hey, everybody, if you have to take antibiotics, make sure you're taking a probiotic too at the same time, or you can get thrush, which, long story short, means you can give somebody a big wet bread kiss. It's the worst thing on earth, and just don't do it. Gargle with salt, then you can give them a salty kiss.
If you can't afford antibiotics, stick your head in a bucket full of Greek yogurt.
Or
Same thing.
Or
just begin a sucking motion.
I don't like this.
Reach into your sink and pick up any of the black goo that's around the drain, and just eat that. That's antibiotics, isn't it?
We aren't even off.
I don't like this.
Rails are so far away. It's.
Oh my god! It's almost 2 a.m.
Lou, get us out of here with your bits.
I don't even know what's going on anymore. You can follow me or follow my puppy on TikTok and Instagram at NotoriousRoseBG. There's the comic show, and we watch movies sometimes. The last episode, we talked about stuff we were reading and how Conor McGraw's been canceled.
Fuck off, Leo.
So you can send all your complaints about Conor McGraw from this episode to young_Kame on all of the platforms.
It never gets old.
I've seen Leonardo hang out with Nazis, okay? He was there with other fake Italians.
Gorlami.
Or Grazie.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
He hates fucking
Leonardo Di Coco.
God. All right, well, I guess that's it. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I have fallen to the floor. That's where I want everyone to know where I am right now.
Oh no.
Oh, I have to do the thing.
Please keep that in. Please, for the love of God, I'm begging you.